Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the man in the black mask, and we're here to talk about Derek Chauvin requesting a new trial amid allegations of jury misconduct. Something that I call bullshit on, of course. You know, I really find that this is bullshit, him and his lawyer. And as I stated in my early video, my video related to this, that Chauvin's lawyer is going to try to find a way to get him off. Try to get him sprung from jail on bail while the appellate process, takes its course. So anyway, yeah, let's read this article. Derek Chauvin requests new trial amid claims of jury misconduct. This is an article from the New York Post, okay? I already showed this picture in my earlier video, so I'm not going to show it to y'all again. Okay? The lawyer for ex-Minneapolis cop Derek Chauvin is requesting a new trial on the death of George Floyd, claiming the guilty verdict against his client was tainted by a threatened and intimidated jury. Well, I doubt it, but from the looks of it, it feels like bullshit. Everything just went by the book, but you never know. In papers filed Tuesday in Hennepin County Court, attorney Eric Nelson argues that Chauvin's murder trial should have been moved to a different city, and said publicity surrounding the trial was pervasive and prejudicial. Man, this lawyer's on a roll, man. I'm telling you, trying to get his ass out of jail. The court abused its discretion when it failed to sequester the jury for the duration of the trial, or in the least admonished them to avoid all media, which resulted in jury exposure to prejudicial publicity regarding the trial during the proceedings. Nelson wrote, as well as the jury intimidation and potential fear of retribution among jurors. Nelson also accused prosecutors and Hennepin County District Judge Peter Cahill of multiple errors in these proceedings, which he said deprived Chauvin of a fair trial. Like I said, I doubt it. I highly doubt if that was the case. Among his claims, Nelson said prosecutors, quote unquote, committed pervasive, prejudicial prosecutorial misconduct, including disparaging the defense and presenting cumulative evidence, particularly a string of experts and police officials who testified that Chauvin used excessive force. It's true he used excessive force, but I don't believe nothing else. The lawyer also claimed the judge should have forced Floyd's pal, Maurice Hall, to testify, despite Hall's assertion that he would invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege if called to the witness stand. Hall was with Floyd inside his SUV when police arrived and arrested Floyd, and allegedly knew there were drugs in the vehicle. The cumulative effect of the multiple errors in these proceedings deprived Mr. Chauvin of a fair trial, in violation of his constitutional rights, Nelson wrote. The former cop was found guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's May 25, 2020 death, after 10 hours of deliberation. Floyd's caught-on-video encounter with Chauvin and 3 other Minneapolis police officers shows him pinned down for more than 9 minutes with Chauvin's knee on his neck. Nelson's 4-page motion did appear to address the controversy surrounding Brandon Mitchell, one of the jurors in the case who was allegedly seen wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt at a Washington, D.C. rally last year. Jurors were grilled during jury selection about whether they had attended Floyd or Black Lives Matter demonstrations, and Mitchell, meanwhile, denied doing so. His motion also did not specifically mention comments made by Representative Maxine Waters, who had encouraged protesters to get confrontational if the ex-cop was cleared in the case. Nelson had tried to have a mistrial declared over remarks before the jury returned its verdict. Judge Cahill denied that motion, but told him Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in this whole trial being overturned. I do admit, Miss Maxine Waters should have kept her mouth shut. She shouldn't have said something, She should have at least waited till after the verdict, because that concerned me when Maxine Waters, spoke ahead of the verdict. But I gotta admit, though, don't be surprised if you hear a lot of rumors and all this other shit surrounding, the appellate process, because the lawyer is already trying to cook up something. Mr. Chauvin's attorney, as you all know. And I'm going to be shocked, right, if Mr. Chauvin is sprung out on bail during the appellate process, because it looked like we got justice, but that could all be taken from us if Mr. Chauvin succeeds in his appeal, which is what I'm praying does not happen. Because I think about the whole score case. He tried to succeed in his appeal, but in the end he failed, and he's still locked up to the day. Now that was justice. Now that was one of the best Me Too moments. Mr. Host Club being convicted of every rape and molestation count and given nearly 250 years to life. And worst of all, Chauvin is expected to get lesser time, when he's sentenced, because he's a first-time offender. And first offenders, most of them, they got a lot of sympathy from the judge. And that concerns me a lot too, because most first offenders don't deserve sympathy, especially if they committed something so heinous. Let alone people like Derek Chauvin and Daniel Hosclaw, that raped all those women, those black women. The youngest was like 16, 17. Mr. Chauvin was seen on tape, pressing his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for like 9 minutes flat until the EMTs forced him off of Floyd. And the girl's, bizarre yet believable testimony did a lot to satisfy the jury in finding Mr. Chauvin guilty. Okay, I'm glad the girl took a stand. I'm glad the girl stood up for what she believed in. She's almost 10 years old. She may be 10 already, but she was 9 when the trial took place. Make no mistake about it. But this thing do concern me, with what this lawyer is trying to assemble, he's trying to gather up all the propaganda he needs to win Chauvin's appeal and get his ass out on bond if he qualifies for bail. So please beware, man. Please beware if Mr. Chauvin is awarded a new trial, because if he is awarded a new trial, I'm sure a lot of us are going to feel like justice was not served after all, that this celebration was for nothing. And I definitely don't want it to be that way. I want every guilty verdict to mean something, especially if it involves a hate crime. Because the way I feel, Mr. Chauvin should have been charged with a hate crime. I don't know how he managed to duck that shit. I don't know. Other than the fact that Mr. Floyd was black and was probably killed because of his color, his status. Because some of us have been products of racism, so this is very personal to some of us. Especially some of you black audience members that watch my channel every now and then, especially your kids. Your kids could learn something from the stuff that I share with you. And I hope they do. Your grandkids, too. If you think that I've inspired your kids and your grandkids, then drop a note underneath my screen. Drop a thank you note. And, say a prayer. And I will pray for all of you, okay? But again, keep your fingers crossed, because his lawyer is going to try to get Chauvin off the hook. Mr. Chauvin, he's already plotting to try to get off this thing. Even though he lost the case, he wants to come up with something that will probably get him off the hook. And that is very concerning to us, okay? I am very fucking concerned about this. He's onto something. You know that, and I know that. But please, don't let Mr. Floyd's death be in vain, okay? Which is exactly what's going to happen if Mr. Chauvin were to win on appeal and get out on bail or whatever and possibly be acquitted. It'll look like Floyd's death was in vain. It'll look like Floyd got what he deserved, even though he didn't. I don't never want that message to be sent, that Mr. Floyd got what he deserved. He did not get what he deserved. If anything, he deserved to be arrested. If he had drugs in the car, if he had, tried to buy something with a fake $20 bill, I'm not judging, okay? If he committed a crime, he deserved to go to jail, not killed, okay? Jail. Because you don't kill somebody over a fake $20 bill or drugs in the car. You don't do that. Those are just allegations, though, It is the thing. What's even more interesting in the trial that they said little about Mr. Floyd's past. But the only thing they talked about was his health. But they didn't talk about nothing else, especially related to his crimes. Well, not that I'm aware of, which I'm glad, because that would have definitely influenced the jury. And they would have saw it as, okay, Mr. Floyd got what he deserved. I'm glad that didn't happen. Okay? I'm honored. Black Lives Matter is supposed to mean something, but, saying the picture of this one juror sporting a Black Lives Matter shirt, that is very concerning to me. Okay, I am very concerned about this, as well as Maxine Waters running her mouth just as the verdict was being read. Again, I'm concerned about this. Okay, I'm concerned as much as I am scared. So please say a prayer and keep your fingers crossed and pray that the judge denies Mr. Chauvin's appeal, just like the Holtzclaw case. Because a lot of you remember, Daniel Holtzclaw, what I'm saying, what he did to those girls and women. So please do not forget that. Okay? If I hear any more about, Mr. Chauvin, again, I will share it to you. Okay? Because I love to read and talk about stuff with the audience. And until then, thank you for listening to the Man in the Black Mask, okay? And if I have another article to share, I will bring it out, okay? I do hope to find another one because I get sick of not being able to find another one. But like I said, I'm going to keep trying. And no matter how late it is, I'll still bring it out. No matter how early it is, I'm still going to bring it out. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe and drop a question underneath the screen and tell me what you think about this ongoing appellate process. So until then, good luck, be well, and have a good day. And thank you for supporting the Man in the Black Mask.